Gets pretty steep over there. As far as I'm willing to go on the lava flow. Yeah, that tree's amazing. This tide line is really interesting. It's everywhere. And it looks like someone's just gone along with chalk, drawn a squiggly line. Doesn't come off. It looks like this algae is the cause of those high tide marks. So this is probably the best composition I've found today so far. It's nice even lighting, it's in the shade. It's particularly bright today, so it's hard to find areas which are in full shade. We've got some pretty rapidly moving water and some fairly still and interesting leaves hanging down in front. So I'm using a slow shutter speed of a 15th of a second. And aperture around f4, 200 ISO, and that's allowing the water to blur quite considerably because it's moving quite fast. But the leaves, because there's no wind, they're very static, and I'm able to capture them pretty still with minimal movement, even handheld. Of course, I'm using the Fuji X-H1, which has inbuilt image stabilization. So that helps when hand holding at lower shutter speeds. And this is the final image after I've done some basic editing to it. So yesterday I mentioned that I was going to try and find a spot to shoot sunset looking over the dam with dead trees in front. The only spots I could find were private property, so couldn't get any public access to those spots, unfortunately. So that was a bit of a pain. So this afternoon we've come back down to the creek at the campground. As you can see, it's very different light to what it was this morning. The sun has now gone down behind the ridge there, and so we're in complete shadow here in the gorge. This is a very cool structure. Still not quite the right light to be shooting this. Not exactly sure when is going to be the best time to do it, but it's pretty gnarly. I might have a try from this angle and just see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. I'm gonna have to wait and see what it looks like in the computer, I think. See what I can do with editing. This is pretty cool here though. I think I can get a shot here. Just love that curve that's coming through. It's very cool. Yeah, I really like the look of this tree. There's quite a few spots that I can see would work really well with a model for my other work. So at some stage I'd love to bring a model back here. It's quite a pretty composition just over here with that water flowing through. So I'm shooting at 25th of a second, around f5.6 for this shot. I'm being pretty lazy. I should have really brought a tripod for these long exposure shots. So about 25th of a second using the in-body image stabilization in the Fuji X-H1, I'm pretty safe that I can hand hold it at that. They certainly aren't going to be as sharp as if I was using a tripod, but they should be good enough. My brother and nephew are over there somewhere trying to find the platypus. Don't think they'll have much luck. I'm going to go in a little bit further because I spotted a tree earlier that I wanted to shoot in better lighting. So I'm going to hightail it down here, see if I can find it again. Here it is up ahead. Thought it was further than this, but thankfully it isn't. There it is. How magic is that tree? Not this one. This one. And that thing is awesome. Alright, I'm going to put this camera down and take some shots. So when I'm photographing a subject like this, it doesn't really have one obvious composition. I try to vary it as much as possible. Shoot vertical, shoot horizontal, shoot from slightly different angles. And also when I'm shooting in fairly low light, like it is here at the moment, and with the slow shutter speeds I was doing before, I shoot a number of images in rapid succession. That way I'm pretty much guaranteed at least one of them is going to be sharp. As I mentioned earlier, it's always better to have a tripod, but as I said, I was lazy. So I have been shooting most of these images on the Fuji 16 to 55mm 2.8, but I just saw this composition here which has got those 5 rocks in the water in the foreground, and I needed something a bit wider, so I just switched to my Rokinon 12mm f2 manual focus lens, and that's just given me that little bit extra width, just enough to fit those rocks in. So we were just getting ready to leave, and I was telling my brother Mal how I thought I saw a platypus, but it turned out to be just one of those floating bits of mossy muck. And he happened to say, well, if I was a platypus, this is the spot that I'd like to live. About a minute later, I spotted one just across there next to that tree. He disappeared, so we waited a couple of minutes. He reappeared and I managed to get this. And then all of a sudden there was not one but 2. Got a quick grab of them on video before they disappeared downstream. So Mel and Benji have just gone a bit further down, see if they could spot them again. But they're so fleeting, it's really hard to catch them. You've got to be extremely patient to get a platypus. I think we'll wait it out a few more minutes and then start heading back, because it's starting to get pretty dark and want to get the campfire going so we can cook some amazing steaks tonight.